Hi guys, so it's 3 p.m. and I'm yet to have breakfast. So I just finished cleaning my room, washing my shoes, and doing all those preparatory stuff for the week. I am on duty tomorrow from 8 to 8, and then I have a busy week ahead because I'll be on 4 straight nights. So yeah, just trying to get everything together so that I can start the week. This is not going to be your usual aesthetic video where you have everything all figured out because I'm very hungry and I have to eat. So I'm just going to be making some pancakes where we'll have a little chit chat about whatever comes to my mind. Like initially when we were in school and all, they used to tell us that, oh, as a medical laboratory scientist, you have to learn how to be everything, right? You are going to have to learn how to be everything. Your specialty doesn't define you.
I carry that same mentality, and guess what? In real life, that's not what plays out. Because when you get to the real world and you go for interviews, in the first, should I say the first question? Should I say the first question or one of the first questions that the interviewers will ask you is what's your specialty? And then for people like us, myself, that study histopathology, that's when you start to be thinking and they're like, what does that even matter? And I don't know if this is where I start to defend myself. And I'm like, okay, what does that even matter? And then they're like, we're looking for a chemistry major, or we're looking for a microbiology major, or hematology major, and all of that stuff as case may be. And before you know it, you are ruled out because you are none of the required majors, especially histopathology. I don't know if you are a histopathology major, you don't even have a comment section, but I'm a histopathology major, and for some reason, histopathology has been, should I use the word bastardized in Nigeria? Because a lot of people, I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's a known fact, should I say a known fact, or a widely used idea that anybody that studies histopathology is not so smart. I don't know. Does anyone else share the same idea with me, or do you have different opinions? It's also welcome. Or what country are you watching from? Because I just got to realize that I have a lot of subscribers from different nationalities. So maybe in your own country, it's different, especially for histopathology majors. Maybe your own country is quite different for us. So let me know down in the comment section. I can't wait to hear from you guys. Anyway, so let's get to finding time. So yeah, it's always trying to make you realize that despite being laboratory scientists, you are still unique in your own specialties. And yeah, that's one I'll say that's one reality that I'm beginning to see in the discipline of medical laboratory science as a whole. For interviews, especially if you're a first timer, and I'm talking about people that are doing it for the first time, it's your first time going for an interview, it's your first time trying out an interview or something. I would say that most, at least I'm speaking for Nigeria, most ISO laboratories, there is one thing you should go and look up, and that is it 10? 12 quality essentials? Sharp quality essentials. So go and look up quality essentials and know all of them, like everything about the quality essentials, because it seems like they've all agreed, all the ISO laboratories have made an agreement to ask them that question. So if you do not know the quality essentials, there is no reason why you should not know it in 2026. Just try and read it up and find that out. Then another thing I would like to say is that there is a huge gap in the what do they call it? In the healthcare system in Nigeria, and it's no news actually. It's not like I'm saying something that I'm not supposed to say. It's no news. This is too thick. I have to add water to it. So yeah, so it's no news that there is a huge gap in the healthcare system of Nigeria. I was at work yesterday, and luckily enough for me, my facility runs a blood bank. And then this guy comes in and he's like, "Oh, I want to donate," and we're like, "Okay, that's fine. Let's check you and know if you are fit. If you are fit, then you can go ahead." We welcome voluntary donors because he was actually a voluntary donor, so that's actually a good thing. We don't see that every day. So I like my pancakes flat, so I like to kind of spin the frying pan around it. Yeah, so guess what? Now this guy, after we did his PCV and all, it came out that PCV was real. Well, according to our standards, of which if you are in ASP exam, you also know the standard. Sorry, I'm using a spoon to point at you guys. I'm so sorry. If you if you read the ASP exam, you know that there is a cutoff or more like a limit to what do we call it? To the blood level, the PCV of a male, female, and even their weight, their blood pressure, and all of that. You learn all of that under blood banking section while studying for your ASP exam. And before I forget, please don't forget to check out my playlist ASP Preparatory Guide for anybody that is interested in writing the ASP exam. That playlist is jam-packed with a lot of information, and trust me, you're going to really love it. So he comes in and he's like, oh, he wants to run a PCV, and then we do check his PCV, and guess what? His PCV comes out as 38, which falls below our allowable, donor level percentage. And we're like, you can't do this. And he was like, oh, he did his PCV somewhere else, and his PCV was 60. If we actually went ahead to say, okay, your PCV is 60, and we just ended up bleeding this guy, this would have actually been in a kind of like non-conformance in our organization. So there is a huge, because people don't do quality control on their machines, you don't actually know what is true and what is not true.
One thing I would like to talk about is something happened to me today. Not today, yesterday rather. So I went to, I'm not going to mention, but I went to this particular healthcare facility, and it was time for me to have my blood draw. When I got into the phlebotomy room, I was like, and then the phlebotomist was like, and I was like, no. And she was like, and I was like, and she was like, and we're going here and here or here, and we're going back and forth about it. Before I was like, let me just allow you to do your job, because, as a healthcare professional, I believe that you should allow your colleague do his job or do her job without getting in the way. And that's what I was trying to do. But then I know myself, for one, I know that I can't remember, having a blood draw from this hand. It's always from here. My veins are very, 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 very obvious here. Like, in fact, you can almost palpate it. But this phlebotomist was insisting on using this hand. So I let her have her way. I didn't want to tell her, oh, I'm a scientist myself, all that stuff. I didn't want to go through that route. So she poked me, and there was nothing coming out, and then she started moving her needle left, right, up, in, out. I was like, nah, hell no, you're not doing that. You are not doing that inside my body. Normally, I'm a scientist, but I'm very scared of needles. But she kept doing all that movement. I'm like, you know what, just take this off. And I was trying to unclip the tourniquet, and she was like, no, don't touch it. I can do it by myself. And I was this close telling her, excuse me, like, major excuse me. But I feel like we healthcare professionals can be more, and it's not even all about scientists, even technicians. You can be more empathetic. And if a client is insisting, or a patient is insisting on you using, a preferred arm, then you should actually just say, oh, I feel like this arm will be good, but we can also collect from this arm. There is absolutely nothing wrong in going that route than to be debating with the patient what arm to use and what arm not to use. That just doesn't feel right to me. At the end of the day, she ended up collecting from this arm. When she put in the needle, like blood gushed out once, and then I was just looking at her like, and you poked me twice. I had already told you, and where you got blood from was from where I actually told you, like, it doesn't make any sense. We should actually do better as healthcare professionals. You should actually listen to the patient. Like they said, everything you do is supposed to be customer-centric, centered on the customer, meant to, make the customer come back. If you get one bad review, or one customer has a bad experience, that one customer is going to go and scare off 1,000 other. And then if one patient has a very good experience, that one patient is going to bring you many other, and vice versa. And honestly, this doesn't only apply to the health sector, even in business. like even in business, as if you are doing into business, if you have a good business going on and one client has a good experience, like my hairdresser for example, because I had a good experience with her on my first appointment, I ended up bringing her, like, I can tell you, she can't count the number of people I've brought to her just from my own good experience. So we should actually do better. That's just what I think. I'm trying to get this pancake right, guys. I don't know. You can see me. I'm multitasking. Multitasking. And yeah, here we have it. My pancakes. Thank you very much for tuning in and watching this video. If you want to see more videos like this, do not forget to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, turn on your post notifications so that you're notified when next time we keep post, and I'll see you in my next one. Love y'all. Peace.